Isn't life complicated enough, restricting enough? We often feel like we're, constantly navigating this maze, struggling to make sense of it all,
Yeah, definitely.
and sometimes wishing for, I don't know, a clearer path.
Yeah,
But maybe without abstract rules that don't seem to fit our unique situations.
right.
Well, today we're diving into a book that offers a surprising and actually a remarkably profound answer to that very feeling.
Welcome, everyone. We're doing a deep dive today into Jordan B. Peterson's best-selling work, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos.
Okay.
Our mission here is really to cut through the complexity, pull out the most important, maybe the most actionable insights from this pretty thought-provoking book.
Right.
Think of this as, well, your shortcut to understanding its underlying philosophy and the key rules, hopefully equipping you with perspectives that might just change how you approach life's everyday challenges.
Helping you face them with courage and meaning. That's exactly what we're after. And what's fascinating, really, is how these rules even came about. It all started pretty humbly, actually, with just a simple question on Quora.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
It was, what are the most valuable things everyone should know? And Peterson's answer, just this concise list of maxims, it resonated with so many people, it practically broke the internet.
It really did. Something like 120,000 views.
Yeah, an incredible 120,000 people viewed it, got 2,300 upvotes. He called it a 99.9 percentile answer. Clearly, he tapped into something universal there, a need for guidance.
And what's truly impactful about that viral moment, I think, is that while it was this accessible entry point, these rules aren't just, off-the-cuff advice. Not at all.
No.
They're deeply rooted in Peterson's extensive intellectual background. He's pulling together insights from fields as diverse as evolution, the neuroscience of emotion, even wisdom from thinkers like Jung, Freud, Nietzsche.
Dostoevsky, Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah, exactly. Piaget, too.
Right.
He spent decades exploring all this, which kind of culminated in his earlier, much more academic work, Maps of Meaning. Ah, okay.
So 12 Rules for Life isn't just self-help in the usual sense. It's more like an accessible translation of these really profound, complex philosophical and psychological ideas.
That makes sense. And there's a memorable detail from the foreword that sort of captures his essence, doesn't it?
You mean the bit about him talking deep questions like small talk?
Yeah, exactly. It describes him having this odd habit of speaking about the deepest questions to whoever was at this table, most of them new acquaintances, as though he were just making small talk.
Huh, yeah. It paints a picture, right?
Yeah.
Someone just so immersed in these big ideas that they naturally spill into every conversation.
Totally.
Precisely. And at the heart of all these discussions, really at the core of his philosophy, is this central duality, order and chaos.
Okay, order and chaos.
Yeah, Peterson argues that reality is fundamentally composed of these two opposing but also interdependent principles. He uses the Taoist yin and yang symbol to illustrate it.
The twin serpent. Exactly, those twin serpents, head to tail, and each one has a dot of the other inside it. It perfectly captures his idea that order and chaos aren't just opposites, they're fundamentally intertwined. Each contains the seed of the other.
Interdependent.
Yeah, and we're meant to consciously navigate that dynamic tension between them.
Okay, so let's unpack these two forces a bit. On one side, we have chaos. How does Peterson define that? What is chaos?
Well, chaos is the unknown. It's formless potential, the origin of everything. He calls it the mysterious realm of gestation and birth. Full of possibility, sure, but also terrifying.
Like the mother grizzly.
Yeah, the mother grizzly who tears you to pieces, that's his phrase, of what you encounter when your life unravels,
Yeah.
A job loss, a devastating audit, maybe a sudden illness.
Right.
It's the unpredictable, the overwhelming, the collapse of what you thought you knew. That's chaos.
And then there's order. That sounds, more comforting. That's where we seek comfort, right?
It is, usually. Order is the explored territory, the familiar structure of society, tradition. It's the warm, secure living room of our established routines and beliefs.
Okay.
But here's the crucial caveat, the warning. Order, if it's unchecked, can become tyranny.
Ah.
Peterson uses this really vivid phrase, the soul-devouring uniformity of the goose step.
Wow, that's chilling.
It is. It's an image of how stability, if you push it to an extreme, can utterly crush individual spirit and thought.
So the real goal isn't just order, then?
No, that's the key insight. True meaning and purpose aren't found just within the comforting walls of order, nor are they found by, like, plunging recklessly into chaos.
So where are they found?
Instead, they're found by deliberately inhabiting the precise dividing line between them.
On the edge.
Right on that edge, where one is, as he puts it, simultaneously stable enough, exploring enough, transforming enough, repairing enough, and cooperating enough. That's the sweet spot.
That sounds challenging.
It is. This, he argues, is the right place to be, living on that edge.
Okay, living on that edge. It sounds like a fundamental challenge, but it also points to maybe our inherent human need for some kind of structure.
Yeah.
You mentioned Peterson really takes aim at modern moral relativism.
He does, yeah.
What's his critique there?
Well, he argues that this modern dismissal of right and wrong, the idea that it's all just personal opinion or cultural constructs, he thinks that's created a dangerous vacuum of chaos.
A vacuum.
Yeah. He feels it devalues thousands of years of human knowledge about how to acquire virtue. The insight here is that throwing out objective morality doesn't actually free us. It kind of leaves us adrift without a compass.
So what's the consequence then of that vacuum?
Well, it leads to one of two things usually. Either nihilism and despair, that feeling that nothing truly matters.
Which is paralyzing.
Totally. Or, and maybe this is even more dangerous, a blind certainty offered by ideologies that claim to have an answer for everything.
Right, jumping to extremes.
Oh. Exactly. Peterson believes humanity is fundamentally rule generators. We're driven by what he calls a biological endowment to create structures, laws, rules.
So it's almost innate.
It seems so. We're all biologically wired to seek and create rules. It's not just a cultural choice, but this deep-seated human imperative to establish structure and meaning. Without it, he thinks, we lose our way.
Okay, that sets the stage beautifully. Now that we've grasped these foundational concepts, order, chaos, the need for structure, let's explore how Peterson demands this radical commitment to truth and responsibility in our own lives.
Yeah, this is crucial.
Starting with a deeply personal revelation he shares, this next rule, Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. That strikes me as particularly challenging today in our hyper-connected, sometimes performative world. How does he build the case for such an uncompromising stance?
Well, it's deeply personal for him, as you said. He talks about his own journey, realizing that, quote, almost everything I said was untrue. Yeah. Driven by, a desire to win arguments, gain status, impress people. He describes this conscious shift he made to practice only saying things that the internal voice would not object to.
Listening to that inner voice.
Right. The profound insight here is that personal untruths, even the seemingly small ones, they aren't just moral failings, they're active distortions of reality. And they accumulate, creating what he calls a life lie.
A life lie? That's a really striking phrase. What does that actually entail?
A life lie is basically a life lived in untruth, where you're trying to manipulate reality to fit some narrow, predefined outcome you want.
Okay.
Peterson sees this as requiring, and this is another strong quote, the arrogance and certainty that the English poet John Milton's genius identified with Satan.
Pretty heavy stuff.
It is. And the price of this falsehood, he argues, is shown really starkly by Alexander Solzhenitsyn in the Gulag Archipelago. Solzhenitsyn showed how the Soviet state's whole pathology was built on the almost universal proclivity of the Soviet citizen to falsify his own day-to-day personal experience.
So personal lies have collective consequences.
Absolutely. Lying, even on a personal level, has collective destructive consequences. It poisons the well of reality itself, you could say.
And this fierce commitment to truth, as Peterson argues, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The core of human experience, suffering.
Yes, definitely.
What does he make of this universal experience?
He states it, well, unequivocally. Suffering is real, and the artful infliction of suffering on another for its own sake is wrong. That's a cornerstone for him.
A baseline moral fact.
Exactly. And if there's something profoundly not good, something truly malevolent in the world, then logically there is something that is good.
On the flip side.
Right. That's a powerful realization, he thinks, born from facing extreme evil. And it's a crucial antidote to nihilism, to that feeling that nothing matters.
Okay, so if confronting suffering is key and truth is our guide, then Peterson argues our first obligation is to address the suffering we can directly control within ourselves and our immediate surroundings. Which brings us directly to Rule 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. He uses a fascinating biological example here, doesn't he? With lobsters.
He does, yeah, the lobsters.
Wow.
And it's not just some quirky biological fact he throws in. He uses it to highlight the deep evolutionary roots of dominance hierarchies.
How so?
Well, low-ranking lobsters, much like humans experiencing chronic stress, they have lower serotonin levels.
So,
This leads to decreased confidence, increased stress, potentially even a shorter lifespan.
wow, okay.
It illustrates just how deeply our psychological state, our confidence, or social standing are rooted in our ancient biology. There's a
Hmm.
direct link between our posture, how we hold ourselves, and our brain chemistry.
But it's not just metaphorical.
No, the core insight is that your internal state and your external presentation are inextricably linked.
So standing up straight with your shoulders back, that's rule one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It isn't just about looking confident. It's a profound internal shift as well.
Exactly. Peterson says, standing up straight with your shoulders back is not something that is only physical, because you're not only a body, you're a spirit, so to speak, a psyche as well.
A spirit, a psyche.
Yeah. It's about voluntarily accepting the burden of being, that profound responsibility of existing, of making choices, confronting suffering, rather than, shying away from it.
Accepting the burden.
Mm-hmm. And there's also this paradox of self-care, he points out, which is quite telling.
What's that?
He says, people are better at filling and properly administering prescription medication to their pets than to themselves.
That's probably true for many.
Right. And this highlights what he sees as a profound moral obligation. You are important to other people as much as to yourself. You have some vital role to play, morally obliged to take care of yourself.
So self-care isn't selfish.
No, in his view, it's a duty. Because you matter to the structure of things, to the people around you.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Okay, building on that idea of confronting suffering within, what about our interactions with others? How does Peterson advise us to navigate the complex landscape of relationships?
Yeah, that leads us to Rule 3. Make friends with people who want the best for you.
Sounds simple on the surface, but often proves incredibly difficult, doesn't it?
It truly is. Peterson shares this tragic story of his childhood friend, Chris, who spiraled into nihilism and eventually suicide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he warns against these sort of naive attempts to rescue others, citing Dostoevsky's Underground Man, whose help was often driven more by vanity and self-importance than genuine concern.
So trying to rescue someone might not actually help.
Often, no. The profound insight here is that genuine help really requires the other person's desire to improve. Attempts to save someone unwilling to save themselves often just drag everyone down.
And there's psychological research backing this up, too.
Absolutely. Psychological research indicates that delinquency spreads, not the stability. Put a problematic person in a high-performing group, and they tend to degenerate the entire team.
Huh. Interesting.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is that, yeah, it's often easier to surround yourself with unhealthy people because maybe they don't challenge you as much. But it certainly doesn't lead to growth.
It takes courage to aim higher in friendships.
Definitely. Peterson asserts, a good, healthy person is an ideal. It requires strength and daring to stand up near such a person. It's a courageous act to choose elevating company.
It certainly is. And speaking of challenges, in our globally connected world, this constant comparison, it can be paralyzing.
Oh, for sure.
Which is why Rule 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today,
Yeah.
feels so vital right now.
It is vital. Comparing yourself constantly to, 7 billion other people, especially the curated versions you see online, it just leads to feelings of inadequacy. It's a recipe for misery. And that internal critic, that nasty, denigrating voice in your head, it can easily lead you to talking yourself into irrelevance.
So what's the alternative?
The profound insight here is about recognizing that your real competition isn't out there with everyone else. It's you yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters for growth.
Okay, so instead of aiming for some impossible perfection based on others, what's the Petersonian approach to progress? How do we actually do that?
Instead, he suggests focusing on small, attainable improvements. Just tiny ones. Aim small, he says.
Aim small.
Yeah, it's like the power of compound interest, but applied to your personal growth.
Yeah.
He suggests asking yourself, by the end of the day, I want things in my life to be a tiny bit better than they were this morning.
Just a tiny bit.
Exactly. This daily practice, even if you do it badly sometimes, leads to profound transformation over time. He says, do that for 3 years and your life will be entirely different.
That's really actionable. A very practical takeaway for anyone looking for lasting change. And what about that nagging feeling of resentment? We all experience it sometimes. Does Peterson have advice on handling that?
He absolutely does, and it's crucial. He advises paying very close attention to resentment. Don't ignore it.
Why? What does it signal?
It's a critical emotion because it indicates one of two things. Either it's your own immaturity, in which case his advice is pretty blunt. Shut up, quit whining, and get on with it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Tough love.
Right. Or, and this is important, it signals genuine tyranny. You're actually being taken advantage of or oppressed in some way.
Ah. So it could be a valid signal.
Exactly. If it's the latter, if you are being genuinely subjugated, Peterson argues the person subjugated has a moral obligation to speak up.
A moral obligation.
Yes, because silence, he warns, allows tyranny to feed on lies, both personally in your own life and societally. Your resentment is a signal you shouldn't ignore. It might be telling you something vital.
That's a powerful call to self-awareness and potentially courageous action.
Okay, let's turn now to the path to competence in creating a meaningful existence. Starting with Rule 11, do not bother children when they are skateboarding.
Ah.
On the surface, it sounds like a very specific, almost quirky rule. What's the deeper meaning there?
Well, it comes from Peterson actually watching skateboarders. He saw them mastering danger, not trying to avoid it. As he puts it, danger was the point. They wanted to triumph over danger. The profound insight is that our desire for competence, for mastering challenges and overcoming risk, is actually essential for growth.
And we stifle that sometimes.
Often, yes.
Yes.
Especially with kids. This desire gets stifled by overprotective measures, things like skate stoppers on ledges or removing dangerous playground equipment. Paradoxically, these things make children less capable, not safer in the long run.
And he connects this to the Sleeping Beauty allegory, right? How does that fit in?
He uses it to illustrate the cost of overprotection. In the fairy tale, the king and queen try to protect Aurora by removing all the spinning wheels. Right, to avoid the curse.
Exactly. But this overprotection ultimately makes Aurora weak and unprepared for the, quote, terror of adult life. It leads to her falling into unconsciousness at the first real contact with failure, or, well, malevolence, the spindle.
So avoiding danger makes you unable to handle it.
Precisely. Peterson argues that children are inherently just pure and good. He points out even chimps engage in brutal warfare. They need to be shaped and informed.
Through discipline.
Yes. He argues parents must use the minimum necessary force to instill discipline, applying, quote, whatever will stop it fastest, within reason, to prevent genuinely dangerous or antisocial behaviors. This isn't about being harsh for harshness' sake. It's about preparing them for the reality of the world.
And parents need some self-awareness here too, don't they? I'm thinking of that striking statement he makes. Something like, if you think tough men are dangerous.
Wait until you see what weak men are capable of. Yes, that's a serious warning.
What's he getting at there?
It means parents must acknowledge their own capacity for being harsh, vengeful, arrogant, resentful, angry, and deceitful. If you don't recognize that shadow in yourself, unchecked parental resentment can easily fester and lead to familial warfare, ultimately harming the child far more than proper, necessary discipline ever would.
Wow.
The insight here is that true strength lies in a disciplined approach to life for both parents and children, because it prepares you to handle the inherent dangers and difficulties of existence. Weakness, by contrast, especially resentful weakness, can breed a far more insidious and destructive form of tyranny.
Okay, so if discipline and competence are key, how do we direct that energy? Where do we aim? This leads us, I think, to Rule 7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. This sounds like a really central tenet.
It absolutely is. It's core to his message. Peterson defines expedience as short-term gain. It's the easy way out, the quick fix. He calls it cowardly and shallow and wrong.
Okay, so what's meaning then?
Meaning, by contrast, emerges when impulses are regulated, organized, and unified. It's about aiming higher, orienting yourself toward a greater good.
And it involves sacrifice.
Yes. The profound insight here is that true meaning requires sacrifice. It demands a delay of gratification. This concept, he argues, took untold hundreds of thousands of years for humanity to figure out and distill into our stories and myths. But its powerful sacrifice allows us to change the structure of reality in your favor.
Change reality. How?
By giving up something of value now for something of potentially greater value in the future. He illustrates this with the monkey trap analogy.
Ah, yes. Tell us about that. I find that incredibly vivid.
Yeah, it's a great image. A monkey traps itself because it puts its hand in a jar or coconut to grab some treats, clenches its fists, and then refuses to let go of the treats so it can't pull its hand out.
Stuck by its own desire.
Exactly. We often do the same, refuse to give up small, immediate desires or comforts, and in doing so, we trap ourselves and forfeit potentially greater future prosperity or well-being. Peterson also references Christ's archetypal sacrifice as a model for the man who gives his all for the advancement of being. Every bit of learning is a little death. He explains a necessary sacrifice of our old, comfortable conceptions for new, better, more accurate ones.
So letting go is key to growth.
Yes. The lesson is, real growth and meaning demand letting go of immediate comfort or gratification for a higher purpose, for something more meaningful in the long run.
And finally, we get to a rule that feels almost like a gentle whisper after all these profound challenges. Rule 12. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street.
Uh-huh. Yes. A bit unexpected, maybe.
It is. What's the deep dive insight into this seemingly simple act? Is it just about enjoying nice things?
Well, partly. This rule is about appreciating the spontaneous moments of grace. The little extra light on a good day and a tiny respite on a bad day. It's a conscious choice to engage with the good, to acknowledge and accept these fleeting moments, especially when life is difficult.
Okay, makes sense.
But it connects to a deeper, almost counterintuitive insight for Peterson. It's not just about finding simple joys.
Oh, how so? What's the deeper layer?
He discusses his daughter Mikhaila's severe juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, a condition that caused her immense suffering and limitation. And he connects this to the concept of Superman needing limitations to be a compelling hero.
Superman needing limitations.
Yeah, a superhero who can literally do anything, he argues, with no constraints, no vulnerability, is no hero at all, because there's no struggle.
I see.
Being of any reasonable sort, Peterson writes, appears to require limitation. Without limitations, there's no struggle, no challenge, and therefore no becoming, no growth.
So limitations aren't just negative.
Exactly. The profound insight is that our limitations, paradoxically, are what define our being and make life meaningful. They provide the necessary resistance against which we can strive, grow, and truly become who we could be. So, the simple act of petting a cat you meet is a reminder to find and appreciate the moments of beauty and connection within the boundaries and limitations of our existence.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. That limitation isn't just a curse, but potentially a source of strength and meaning. So to conclude our deep dive into 12 rules for life, how does Peterson bring it all together? What's the final takeaway?
Well, he offers a powerful guiding principle, sort of a meta rule perhaps. Orient yourself properly, aim high. Then and only then, concentrate on the day.
Aim high, focus small.
Precisely. Set your sights at the good, the beautiful, and the true, and then focus pointedly and carefully on the concerns of each moment. It's about holding that highest ideal in mind while diligently working on the smallest, most immediate actions right in front of you, day by day.
We've certainly navigated the profound landscape of 12 Rules for Life today. We've explored how Jordan Peterson weaves together really diverse fields, psychology, mythology, biology, philosophy, to offer this compelling vision for confronting chaos with order.
Facing suffering with responsibility. Seeking truth with precision and sacrifice. It really feels like a call to take individual action, doesn't it? Not just to improve our own lives, but by extension to improve the world around us, starting with ourselves.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, really the book itself, implicitly asks you, the listener, a profound question.
Mm-hmm.
If we accept that true thinking is rare, as Peterson suggests, and that our own perceptions are so easily blinded by our desires and fears, what specific uncomfortable truth are you avoiding right now? And following from that, what small, precise act could you take today, maybe even right now, to confront it?
Just one small step.
Just one brave step. The universe, Peterson might say, and perhaps your own soul, might just be waiting for you to take it.